Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rajiv Gar. Interesting panel discussion today, which is about the use of artificial intelligence in our gem and jewelry industry. Let me first introduce our panelists. Mr. Sanjay Kothari, I don't think he needs any introduction. He is chairman of Gem and Jewelry Council of India, and he is past chairman of Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council. He has his own gem and jewelry industry, both on the diamond side as Kunal Diamonds and jewelry as Diatrends. We have Dr. Anand Deshpande with us. He is founder and chairman of Persistent Systems. He works out of, he is basically works out of Pune, but he works out from everywhere. Now, so in virtual world, he is everywhere. And he is one of the pillars behind whatever little bit we are trying to do now as far as artificial intelligence for gem and jewelry is concerned. He's also he is on various things. He's on the board of a lot of I think NGOs, and he is a trustee on another NGO. He is chairman of board of directors at IIT Pune. He's also a board member at UIADI India. That is the Aadhaar thing. Then we have Professor Aseem Tiwari from IIT Powai, Mumbai. He is the chairperson. He is the chair professor, GK Devarajalu chair professor. He is with C-Minds, which is Center for Machine Intelligence and Data Sciences and Department of Mechanical Engineering. So he has keen interest in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and he has been leading a lot of efforts at IIT Mumbai for last 6 years in this direction. So with this, I would like to start with you, Anand. And first one may sound very, very naive and basic to you, but I think for a lot of people from the industry, the first question obviously comes to mind: what is artificial intelligence? What actually it is, and what can it do or what it cannot do?
Well, it's a tricky question because artificial intelligence as such has been around for more than 60 years now. And it has traditionally been about building out or using computers for doing things that the mind or that intelligence can do on its own. So basically creating the computer to make it do things more like the human beings. But over the last, say, I would say 10 years or so, variations of this, more specifically around machine learning or data science, have started to become very important. What that has done is that because today we are able to collect and manage large volumes of data that is relevant, we are able to take that data and learn from the past data or look at inferences and look at various techniques to make machines predict and make inferences about what might happen in the future or in the current context on the basis of data that we have in the past. In the last 3 to 5 years, I would say AI and machine learning have been on a rage. Every industry is using AI to improve efficiency and effectiveness of the industry and processes and programs. And I think this is really very important for the gems and jewelry industry. As I first learned about this almost a year back when you invited me for last year's event. And that was the first time I got to know that about what AI can do for fashion and gems and jewelry. I'll take a pause here and pass it around. But needless to say, there is enough literature available and some amazing videos online about what machine learning and artificial intelligence can do for various industries.
Thanks, Anand. I'll come to you, Sanjay Bhai. How did the idea of artificial intelligence or AI implementation for gem and jewelry industry took shape, and how is the initial response from the industry to this idea?
Good afternoon, colleagues of the industry, and Happy New Year. If you remember, Rajiv, we had done IJES, India Jewelry Excellence Symposium, sometimes in January 2020. And in that, one of the topic was the artificial intelligence, machine learning. It was just thought in one of the colleagues of ours, Mr. Kunal Shah, that let us call Dr. Deshpande, who is the expert in this and let us understand what artificial intelligence is. So at that time, nobody knew what it is. And the way Dr. Deshpande gave the presentation, all of us were impressed. And we thought that can it be applied in our industry also or not? Because he said that in automobile and other industry, last time. We thought of it and called him again in World Gold Council's office, where in World Gold Council, Forever Mark, GJPC, GJC, and few manufacturers, GIA, Platinum Guild, all of us got together. About 10 of us were there, 10, 15 of us. And we asked Dr. Deshpande to give the presentation again. And when he gave the presentation, all of us thought that let us give it a shot. We should try and do this if it can be applied in our industry. And we thought that let us do a feasible study of it, whether it can be done or not. So Dr. Deshpande suggested one Ashish Pandit, and in spite of the pandemic, he was able to talk to 20 manufacturers, retailers, as well as the organization's team. And the result came from that physical stuff. Yes, it can be applied in our industry and we should try and go ahead with it. That is how it has come. And this is the reason that we are going ahead with it. And now further to it, after talking to many people, if the industry is geared up to go ahead with it, how to start a pilot project, that is what the whole issue was. And that is how we went ahead with it. This is the background under which we started it. And fortunately, the whole industry is supportive of it. All these big organizations, as I named everybody, including the retailers of Tanishq and Malabar and CaratLane, all of them are of the opinion that we should give it a go. Let us try and see what we do in our industry with artificial intelligence.
Thank you, sir. Aseem, I'll come to you. Now, two questions for you. One, how India, as we know, we all know that India is known for its ITS sort of progress made in last about 3 decades or so. So if we look at AI, how is India placed vis-a-vis other countries? That is the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, how would the use of AI impact the gems and jewelry industry as such?
Well, thank you, Raju. I think this is a loaded question because the last second part is probably the entire holy grail of what we are trying to do. And as Dr. Deshpande actually started this whole exercise. So essentially, if you look at AI, and I just probably wanted to pick on where Dr. Deshpande left. So AI has been there for 70 years, actually. The word AI was coined almost 70 years back. And in some sense, it lost its charm because 70 years is a very long time. And people really thought that there was a limit beyond which AI could not do anything. But about 10 years back, a decade back, actually, there was a major shift in the technologies and the algorithms for AI. And that really has been one of the main drivers for AI to now become omnipresent. And that is essentially the deep learning. So in the machine learning domain, the deep learning, which started about 10 years back, has suddenly broken all the barriers of intelligence as we know of. And it has challenged human intelligence and has beaten human intelligence in many tasks. And this has been the most exciting part of the journey of artificial intelligence, and which is this deep learning, which started about 10 years back. Now, that is where really the world has to be looked at as to who is the leader in the world right now. Now, this is a very strange phenomenon because currently there are nations which are leaders, but then there are corporations which are also the leaders. And this is a very strange thing because there are several corporations which have very advanced algorithms and technologies available to them in the area of AI. But looking at, so I have several presentations which I go around and give. So if you look at the two nations which are far ahead of anyone else, and those are China and America. This is based on purely the research output which they are generating and the research which they are doing in the field of deep learning. So AI is, as I said, very big, but the real excitement is in deep learning. And China and America put together are more than 5 to 10 times the third country, which is in this case United Kingdom. So UK is 1/10 of what China and America put together are, and of course they are like far ahead of everyone else. India, in that respect, we are about 7th. So world ranking in some terms of research, China is number 1 currently. US is very close, number 2. United Kingdom is very far, but number 3. Then comes South Korea, Germany, Japan, Canada, India, Australia. So this is in a sense the ranking. And this is again a little old because it's about a year old. Last year just went by and I didn't really put much stuff in it. In all of this, we do not know where Russia stands. And one expects that Russia would have a lot of stuff which is not really openly available to us. So this is the world standing. In terms of what AI can do for the jewelry industry, that is a much loaded question. If you want, I can answer now. Otherwise, we can continue the discussion and then we can add it at a later stage.
Sure. So let me put it to Sanjay Bhai first. So Sanjay Bhai, what is it which we are trying to do in the pilot project for the industry partners to know, and how can people get associated with what GJSCI and IIT Bombay are trying to do?
After doing this feasibility study, which I got a pause after talking about it, what we did was Mr. Dr. Deshpande and Ashish Pandit tried to talk to various IT industry people, that is IIT, IBM, XYZ, Google, and they said, ask them whether the industry will be interested to join hands with the German jewelry industry for the AI project. And surprisingly, everybody shown their interest. And we thought that, yes, if all the Google, Microsoft, IBM, IIT, NESCOM, all of them are ready to support us, we should try and do a pilot project along with it. So we are creating a center of excellence, which will be owned by under the banner of GJSCI. Everybody would be the stakeholders. And to do a pilot project manufacturing, which is a low-hanging fruit compared to retailers, we thought that let us start with the pilot project on the manufacturing activity. And in that, 4 companies, that is Diatrends, Jewellex, Unidesign, and Walking Tree, which is a KBS company of Kunal Shah. 4 companies came forward. They said that we want to go ahead with it. We are part of this pilot project and let us start. And in that, the first part was of casting of jewelry. And so we are working on that. Hopefully within a week or 10 days time, we have joined hands with IIT, let me tell you, and IBM and Google or Microsoft, if required, whenever it is required, we will take help of them. So we are starting a pilot project within a week's time with these 4 companies, and Professor Asim is leading it. And I'm grateful to Dr. Deshpande also that he will be the guiding force behind whole these activities.
Thank you, sir. Anand, this one is for you because this started with you. Now we know even in the pilot project we have started doing something in the production process and in the manufacturing. But what I want to know that when it comes to design, will the introduction of AI in jewelry industry, what role would consumers play when it comes to designing their customized jewelry, and how would that really shape up? Particularly when we are talking about is lakhs of small retailers, and the other day we were talking about even the industry side, 90% of our industry is MSMEs. So how does it really become so to say secular when the individual consumer or customer can participate?
Yes. So I think you bring in a very good question. And part of the reason why we are doing this as part of the Gems and Jewelry Skill Council of India is because we want to do this collaboratively and make it available to all small businesses as well. Any one company could think about doing this, but really putting it all together brings the power of getting all that data together. Asim already pointed out how AI has a lot to do with collecting and getting data in place. And we think if the industry were to collaborate and bring data together, we can get some amazing results, which would really benefit the small and medium businesses as well. In the context of what we are trying to do, I want to distribute the AI activities that we are likely to look at into 5 different heads. So first is relating to design. So how can AI help in getting better designs? And there are lots of techniques that can be used today already in helping individual designers improve the quality of their designs by generating alternatives and various other techniques that can be done to help with design. So I think we can improve the design process very significantly. Second is there are a set of problems we identified around manufacturing. So that is relating to the gold, quality of gold, to the just the dyes and everything else that happens around the manufacturing process. There are many opportunities of leveraging AI for retail industry. Specifically, how do you improve the experience that customers get and all of those kinds of things, and how do you improve how you sell and improve the hit ratio in terms of what is being manufactured versus what is being sold. Consumer satisfaction, I think, is another area where we think AI can really help, and overall this should help in market expansion. So I think one of the important things that we need to look at is, with a lot of young people that we have in our country, more and more people using jewelry on an ongoing basis is good for the industry, because that is the best way to expand the market. So I think all of these 5 areas, there are incredibly nice set of problems that can be sorted out and solved once we have good quality data in the system. So my suggestion is that the industry should work on building out the data platform, create the necessary APIs so that different research groups or smaller teams can work out ways to look and leverage that data to improve problems for the industry. So that's really the vision of where we are trying to go in this model.
Aseem, you have worked on some projects in this industry earlier also. You shared with me about the hallmarking project, where you would have interacted with or seen a lot of handmade gold jewelry. Now, how do you think use of AI would impact the handmade jewelry making? Because what right now we are trying to do is casting, which is a mechanized process. But how do you think AI could be useful in handmade jewelry?
Yeah, actually, you're right, Raju. I've interacted with a very large set of people in jewelry because of the hallmarking, and otherwise also in the fashion tech industry, the Fash Tech, which is called. So the fashion tech industry is essentially the intersection of fashion with technology, and jewelry essentially can be looked at as one of the parts of that. So again, picking from where Dr. Deshpande left 5 basic areas, similarly, I feel there are 5 basic areas where AI and fashion tech will impact the jewelry business and the jewelry, gems and jewelry sector. And these are the 5 areas which I feel will see a huge change in future. So the very first one, of course, I feel is that futuristic manufacturing designs will come. And we will be able to leverage AI to optimize current designs and manufacturing, but also go to very complex futuristic designs and manufacturing. So we may be able to have AI designing new jewelries for us. So you may have abstract jewelry coming up by designing by AI. Same is true for complex 3D printed AI based concepts, which may create jewelry which never existed in the past. That's the first thing. The second would be in the fashion retail business, where you'll be able to provide a unparalleled customer experience, chatbot, personalized discounts, individual understanding and forecasting of needs, planning, operation optimization, supply chain. Every aspect of retail will be transformed by artificial intelligence, and that is going to be driven by data. And thus everyone will feel that they are being personally treated, and it will be a very personalized experience for every individual. Now, the third area where I feel it will be a many huge changes is in the augmented reality and virtual reality domain. Once you wear a jewelry, you'd like to see how it looks on you. Now, you may actually not be able to try 100 jewelries or 1,000 jewelries, but you could actually do this through augmented reality. And omni-channel present, especially online and aspects associated with online purchases and shopping, this would become a very, very big thing. Online virtual trial rooms would exist. And you may want to really try different jewelries, and this will really create a demand which never really existed. The fourth thing which I feel will be a huge change will be in the decentralization and secure, trustworthy interactions in the jewelry sector at a larger scale, which will be driven by blockchain. So we will have smart contracts, all the global boundaries will be eliminated, You have cryptocurrency, it's already very big. Because of Corona, it has become even bigger. So now the boundaries of global boundaries of registering your contract at one place, having monetary transactions, reduced payment risk, and all of these things will suddenly go away. And this will be a decentralized, it will not be regulated by any one individual entity or a government, but it will still be extremely secure and trustworthy. And this will be a major requirement in blockchain, because a major requirement in jewelry industry, because you really have very large transactions happening. And finally, the last area where I feel jewelry industry will see a major change is IoT. You will have embedded Internet of Things devices in your jewelry. You'll have necklaces, bangles, and others which will have embedded electronics in it. And this embedded electronics could essentially be doing many things. It could be communicating with each other. It could be creating a map of your physical health. It could be providing you various different kinds of inputs. So this is something which is going to be a very big thing. Jewelry will become functional. It will have embedded electronics. Now, coming back to your specific question of where the handmade jewelry will play a role. So the thing is that there are a lot of operations and designs which right now are being done for the handmade jewelry. They will be very drastically changed by AI. And AI will be able to create a very niche area for handmade jewelry. So I think that there would be a very specific kind and designs of jewelries which AI will be able to create and target customers which will appreciate handmade jewelries more than but this will become a little more exclusive in some sense. So if I look at jewelry, if you are looking at just assembly, polishing, and other aspects, that of course will continue. But if you're looking at something which is completely handmade, unlike the casting process, then there will be a very niche area which will come out. And there will be enough customers who would want to go out and pay for this handmade jewelry over and above the regular mass manufacturing jewelry. So I feel that we will be able to better understand customers. And there is a very huge class of such customers which we are right now not able to cater to very precisely. But then we will be able to do that. So that's what my feeling is.
Thanks, Aseem. And that brings me back to you, Anand. Aseem talked about IoT devices being embedded in jewelry, and in a sense, probably merging two industries, which is gem and jewelry and healthcare. Because if I am wearing a bracelet and it can track my blood pressure and it can track my other sort of parameters on health side, I think that would be something which would be of keen interest to a lot of people in our industry. Your take on this, Anand? You might be doing already some work, or you would have seen something like this already. So how do you think this would shape up, and what timeline do you think to this really becoming a reality?
You're right. I think we are almost there today. I know we were working with a hearing aid company, and one of the objectives that the hearing aid company wants to do is to make sure that the hearing aid does not protrude out and look ugly. And there is a huge battery that you need to carry. So is there a way to make a necklace out of that battery so that you can hide the battery and it also looks good? So a lot of these kinds of things are starting to happen already, and people are looking at the aesthetics of medical electronics and jewelry. Today's watches also today are starting to become very different because of the electronics. So I think we are already seeing some of these kinds of things, and especially the younger crowd, which is looking at wearing a Fitbit or some other device of this kind, wants to make sure that that device is also trendy, and it is in a way like jewelry. So jewelry is competing with Apple Watch today anyway. And some of this is going to continue as we look ahead.
Yeah, so instead of competing with Apple Watch, where do you where do you see collaborations happening?
No, I think there are some brands that have put Apple Watch in very expensive diamond-studded, bracelets and various other things. So I think more and more of this will happen, and I think the jewelry industry is extremely innovative. They are capable of designing amazing things. So I do see the footprint of how these devices get positioned will evolve as we go ahead.
Aseem, how do you think the use of AI, because one very, very common sort of worry or apprehension is always whenever you use a lot of IT or IT related processes, it might lead to loss of jobs in industry. How do you think use of AI in gem and jewelry industry would actually help create more jobs?
So the first thing is more locally. I think with AI, when especially in retail, we'll be able to capture a much bigger market. Currently, the global market is growing at about 5.5% per annum. And if you look at the global market, India still is the largest supplier exporter of the fashion jewelry. So I think this will let us keep that leadership position. And with AI, we will be able to better target the growth markets which are being seen in Europe and especially Latin America and other countries apart from India. And thus, I think there will be a huge demand. So the very fact is that the application of AI in fashion and jewelry will create a very high demand, which will drive, of course, growth. So that's one aspect of jobs. So jobs will be, in a sense, created more because there'll be more jewelry which will be required. But on the other aspect of replacing aspects, so if you think about AI, currently AI is not really automation, and we need to differentiate these two things. So we are not looking at automation. That was third industrial revolution where they were doing mechanized things. They were having robotics. You have a car assembly line where the cars are being assembled by robots and things like that. This is a fourth industrial revolution. This is different from third. Here you will find that there will be companies which will have no mechanization, no automation, and still will be using artificial intelligence. And this essentially will drive efficiency in the system. So looking at job, I feel that the jobs will be, number one, created more because of better demand prediction. But apart from that, this will essentially make the current jobs more efficient. And that's the other aspect. And of course, it will create a third kind of jobs, the jobs which will be for people who are in the area of IT and AI and IoT and networking and things like that. So that's a creation of a job. The traditional jobs will not be replaced because we are not talking of automation, but we are talking of efficiency. And of course, more jobs may be created if we are able to have a better capture of the growing world market. So it's like something which one needs to realize. It is not replacing, but supplementing and complementing. It's not supplementing, it's more of complementing the current jobs which are being done in the jewelry sector. So I really don't see a decrease. I see a growth in jobs because of this, essentially.
I too think the same. But Anand, like how Asim was talking about, I have two questions for you. These creations of new jobs linked with IT related thing, or somebody in a jewelry industry who knows a little bit of artificial intelligence, or who knows the data, who knows how to collect good quality data. Now, would it need somebody with an IT background it only, or someone who's already working in a gem and jewelry industry with training will be able to do this job? So that would actually you would be sort of upgrading the existing people who are into job. The other part of the question is what Asim said, because of AI being used in gem and jewelry industry, he sees a growth in the overall market and more business coming to this industry. How do you think the overall revenue streams in the industry would get impacted?
So clearly, because of better efficiency, better quality jewelry, the ability to deliver jewelry very quickly when you need one, you will see an expansion of the market, which can be very significant. I believe that we have not reached anywhere near the maximum in terms of what can be the potential of the jewelry industry, not only in India, but across the world as well. And this is something that Rajiv, you and your team have mentioned this to me many times, that the market is quite large and we are still at the early stage of the market in terms of, especially once you go to slightly meaningless pure, meaning artificial jewelry and other such things that are happening, where disposable jewelry is starting to happen in a big way. So fashion and jewelry is starting to become very related, and we are still at the early stage of market expansion. So I do see this as a great opportunity for the market to grow. As the market grows, I think it'll create jobs for everyone. And definitely there will be different categories of jobs. As they say, in all kinds of jobs like this, there is usually a pyramid. So there'll be some jobs that require an IT person who understands jewelry. but most of the jobs will be jewelry persons who understand a little bit of technology and IT. So I think we will be able to train large numbers of people who are already in the jewelry industry today to start to use modern technology and become very effective with their jobs, improve their productivity, and hence personal earnings as well.
So, we should say good days ahead for Gem and Jewelry industry.
Well, it's up to us, meaning there are opportunities. I would
Yeah.
say there are opportunities for us to get there, but the future is in our hands, as they say.
Sanjay, how do you see this? Because you have been in industry for long, and you have seen a lot of changes in the industry, including the starting of what Asim calls as third wave when we started into machine-made jewelry, and before that, diamond cutting and polishing coming to India. How do you see the AI now getting married to gem and jewelry industry, impacting this industry over next 2 to 10 years?
First, to substantiate what Asim and Dr. Deshpande said, that if you remember when the computers came, the people thought that a lot of jobs will be lost. And a lot of new things came and people got the jobs after learning computer. The same thing will happen in AI also. More and more jobs on the contrary would be created. So this myth that AI coming in would reduce the job is not going to be true. The second thing is that diamond industry, if you know, from the cottage industry wherein we were sitting on the wheels and cutting it, and how the automation has come and how the industry has evolved in the diamond cutting and polishing by going onto the different machines, and how easily they are being manufactured now compared to Belgium and Israel. The same thing will be applied here. And I believe that in a layman's term, for my colleagues of the industry, to start in this pilot project, for example, casting today, if the casting of a piece takes 3 to 4 times to cast a jewelry, by using AI, we will be able to do it in the first shot. So you will save the time in casting, you will save the gold loss, and the hours of people also would be saved. That is what. And in the designing also, today we are creating 100 designs and 5 or 10 are selling. Maybe 1,000 we are creating and 50 are selling. So by use of AI, we'll be able to have the hit ratio better. And instead of 1,000 design, probably you will prepare 500 designs, or instead of 100, you will prepare 50 design, and 5 or 10 or 50 you will be able to sell. So the investment would be less, the work would be less, and it is going to help to a great extent. That is what the vision is. Now, to tell you the truth, nobody in the world in the gem and jewelry industry has applied this AI, and we will be probably the first industry who have joined hands with IT. And IT and gem and jewelry, two largest industry of the country, are joining hands. This itself is a boon for the whole industry and the whole country. And I believe that it will go a long way. If I remember correctly, only De Beers has been using AI for excavation of diamonds when they go for mining. Apart from that, nobody in the world is using AI as far as gem and jewelry is concerned. So if it is a 5-year project probably, so from mining to the consumers, we are trying to see that how we can reach to the consumers. So from mining to consumer, all aspects will be covered. That is what the vision is, and that is what the whole idea of going AI as far as we are concerned in the industries.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay bhai. Actually, this was a question I wanted to ask. This was the last question I wanted to ask Anand. Anand, as we have discussed a couple of times, I believe, and as Sanjay bhai said, India is taking a lead as far as use of AI in gem and jewelry industry is concerned. Now, how do you think this would bring a competitive advantage to all our players in the industry vis-a-vis the international markets or other international manufacturers?
So I think already gem and jewelry industry in India is one of the leading industries for us. We are one of the largest exporters of gems across the world. So it is important for us to stay current and take the lead. I think a lot of the industries are rather small in the gems and jewelry industry. Having a common infrastructure and a common platform where we can share data and build out systems that every industry or every small business can benefit would be very important. And I think I really want to commend the efforts of the GJSCI and the gems and jewelry industry for setting the Jade Center up. I must say that I work with many different industries, and I was very impressed to see the collaboration of potential competitors of being able to work together to solve a major cause for themselves as a common cause that we sorted out. So I'm really impressed with what the industry has been able to achieve in the last 1 year that I've had a chance to interact with the industry. And I want to commend all of you for the great beginnings that have been made. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we should be able to significantly improve our profit margins, revenues, and the overall industry and the employment because of using next generation technology, including artificial intelligence.
Thanks, Anand. Prerna, I think I'm through with my questions. We can open it for chat or
No, one thing, Rajiv, one
yes,
thing I want to add,
yes, sir.
if you permit me, before you ask for question answer,
Sure.
that even if we are starting with this pilot project with 4 manufacturers, rest assured that it will be open for everybody and whole industry would be able to use it, those who want to use it. GJSI will have this COE station within a month's time, and everybody who is willing to use this are most welcome to use it. But we want to start as a pilot project because it is a beginning. All of us are shooting in the dark at the moment. So that is why these 4 companies who have come on their own to start with, and ultimately it will be open for everybody. Same thing is with retailers. Parallelly, probably we will start with the retailers also if Asim and Dr. Deshpande agrees within 15 days, 1 month's time, and collect the data. So parallelly, retailers also would be taken care of as well as the manufacturing. That is what the idea is at the moment. It is a 3 to 5 years project. Expenses are huge, but we will try to find out money from because we have got good organization who would support us fully, and Government of India also probably will be part of us. Though in COVID, there are funds restriction, but we don't want immediate money. So probably government also is willing to finance us, and hopefully by next year everything should be smooth. And at the moment, GJSCI is putting in seed money, and we are starting the project immediately. And as before we started, I was talking to Asim that by 15th or 20th January, we should start at least the working of the pilot project, because it has already 8 months have passed. We have worked hard on it, and let us try to expedite the process.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay bhai. So Prerna, we can now open it for questions, if any. Hello. Yes, Kapil bhai.
Yeah. I'm Shishir,
Shishir bhai.
using his computer.
Okay.
Now, the point is about data mining. Would AI be useful, or would it be necessary to understand data mining internal as well as external?
So let me take this up. Let me give you the answer on this question. See, the thing is, we will have multiple stages of this. For certain people who are potentially researchers, which we would anchor off of IIT Bombay, they will need to understand the data mining algorithms and other related complexities of machine learning. For the end users, we will try to package it in a way where the end user does not have to understand the nuances of it, but can experience the benefits of data science and machine learning on the job that they are trying to do. So the goal for some of these techniques is to improve the quality of decision making that is being made at every point in the usefulness cycle. So the person on the retail stop, he should be able to say, okay, should I do this, this, or this? can AI assist me with best odds on what might be the right thing to do at this time? So this is what is being done in every industry, is to encapsulate AI and machine learning into algorithms so that people who are making decisions get a clear understanding of the decisions that they need to make and the choices that they have and the consequences of those choices that they might have to deal with.
Yeah, Dr. Deshpande, you have put it very nicely, actually. Let me just give a more micro detail of it, essentially. So if you look at the AI aspect, what we are looking at is machine learning and deep learning. And as the name suggests, it has a learning aspect of it. So the data which will be created from the industry will be used to make the algorithms learn this. So there is a very clear phase which is known as machine learning phase. So the machine learning will happen based on this very elaborate data which we'll be creating. We'll be creating several data lakes which we'll be using to do this. Once the model has learned and has been validated to work, that's when you'll have the second phase, which is known as the inference model. Inference model is where the model is now, which has learned from all the past data and is now ready to be deployed. For deploying that data, that model, you really don't need an understanding of AI at all. What you need is just the inference model is what you need. Whenever you give it your data, it will tell you what you expect out of it. So essentially, that is the second phase. So that would be what would be rolled out to everyone in the industry. So they don't have to know what the black box has. The black box, however, has been trained on the entire data set and has gone through the machine learning process. But now the black box has become an inference model. You give your input, you give your jewelry design, you give your details, and it will predict as to what you expect. Will this really work or will it not work? Where would the porosities be? What level of porosities should be? Do you have a gating system which should be changed? If you change that and you see what your model is telling. So essentially, you don't have to, as an end user, know anything about what the black box does. But the black box is essentially trained on the initial data which existed. And with time, as the data keeps growing, the backend black box can keep growing and become more and more sophisticated. So that's in a nutshell what it is.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
One question I want to ask, Rajiv.
Yes, sir.
Can this AI be used for diamond and colorstone manufacturing also?
Who would like to answer? Anand, you or Asim?
I'll let Asim answer that
It's
question.
okay.
Let me then. So there are two aspects. You're talking about artificial diamonds or diamond cutting.
No, diamond cutting and polishing of the natural diamond.
So we actually had a very big project which we had done for diamond cutting. However, it was for a different purpose. We had a proposal to the government for creating single crystal diamond tools. So if you look at very high-end military weaponry systems as well as nuclear systems, they require cutting tools to be made up of single crystal diamond. So we had created a very elaborate methodology to create single crystal diamond cutting. So leverage them across specific faces, diamond cubic faces, which will create these single crystal diamonds. And going from that to the jewelry industry is only one step further, where you would essentially like to have a diamond with several faces, which leads to multiple internal reflections and creates that gem, that diamond kind of glitter, you know. So I think the answer in principle is yes, it could certainly be looked at. And there already exists a lot of literature and there's a lot of research which has already been done on how to cleavage diamonds in specific planes so as to create this. So we can probably take this offline, but the simple answer is yes, it should be possible.
Asim, you and your team have a lot of work with once you work with gem and jewelry industry on hand.
Yeah, I think there are no more questions. So let me take this opportunity to thank you, Anand, for taking time out on one small message. You are always there to support, and it was very insightful. And I am very sure that a lot of people here would have got a lot of insight, particularly coming from an industry guy who's already working in the industry. Asim, you always have things up your sleeves which you unfold. which we have not known earlier. For example, you just spoke about this single diamond cutting tools. So yes, I know, Sanjay bhai, the inclusion plotter and the planner, which is there being used on the machinery, diamond cutting polishing machinery, already is using artificial intelligence in some way to maximize the yield or to maximize the value in terms of, it's not only the size of the diamond, but value, so that you get an inclusion free diamond, which would be much more valuable than something which might have some minor inclusions. So yes, this is there. And I'm very sure as the Jade moves on and moves ahead, there would be a lot of interesting projects which would come up, and industry at large would get hugely benefited. Sanjay bhai, a lot of thanks to you. You have always been there, and I really sort of appreciate your vision. I think it was your vision that this Center of Excellence is now a reality, that too in such short time.
It is collective effort. Acha, now some of the friends are asking, they are not able to connect. Can anybody